Welcome, all bettors and bettees, for a very exciting edition of the podcast. The season has finally begun. I am your host, Mr. Wright, joined by my co-host and man, myth, and legend, Mr. Sanders. Say hello to the people, Mr. Sanders.
Hello to the people, Mr. Sanders.
What's happening, people? Yes, we are very excited about this episode. Finally, it's the regular season. Finally, we can get into the meat potatoes of why we're doing what we do. And finally, for those of you who are listening to us today and who have been following us, we really appreciate you. You're gonna get some dimes today that if you go ahead and take our advice, you're going to have some of the benefits that we have been reaping. So the first game that we're going to get into today is the Green Bay versus Philly in Brazil. We know we made some announcements last Saturday that we would be giving you a short concerning this game on Thursday, possibly Friday morning. Some things changed about that game. Mr. Sanders is going to speak more to that. Sir, you want to educate the people on that game?
Yeah, so I'm going to try to work out. I actually got messaged by a couple of people asking about where is the short, which I super appreciate people reaching out. I really do my best to make sure I stay on top of that and get to people. I really, really actually try to be really good about that. I had to, like I said on the last podcast, pretty sure we're going to take it. A couple of things I need to check out, which I was doing throughout the week. It just got to the point where I was just I'm not too sure. When I released the short yesterday to make everybody aware, I didn't bring it up because we weren't going to take it. I figured I can kind of explain the situation when we did today. So the way that it works is, look, I don't gamble on games. I do what I feel is best, what I feel safe doing. I've always been this way. I've been doing this longer than our correspondent, Mr. Grassy Fields, has been alive. So I'm always going to go about it the way I go about it. So I do apologize to those people. But about 2 weeks before kickoff, that line was basically going from Philadelphia at -0.5 to -1. When I went looking for points, it had it at +3 at -165. And I was like, oh my God, I'm totally going to take it because it's not a crazy payout, which those type of numbers don't bother me, as I've kind of stated before.
Right.
So I ended up grabbing it then, and then, you cross your fingers and hold on to your butts, making sure no one got hurt. Pretty much figured, Philadelphia, because they weren't playing starters, which, boy, did that show.
Right.
And just kind of go it from there. When we were getting closer to this week and at the end of last week, the line went from half to -1 to where it was sitting at -2.5, 3, and the money line was sitting around 150. And I'm thinking to myself, look, I don't mind paying a little bit of extra. I mean, I would take it at -200 if I knew. But I'm like, I really didn't feel comfortable because I know Kellen Moore. I know what Jalen Hurts is. I know what they have. And I know that they're going to be stupid and throw the ball. They didn't put any time together as far as preseason. And look, each their own. They know more than I do. But to work out kinks, and that thing was a disaster last night. Was it last podcast before? I'm like, you cannot have this dude constantly throwing the ball 30-plus times a game.
Jalen Hurts,
you have the weaponry. Yeah, and look, he's gotten better. But he's kind of just gets a little too cute for me. I think it's too much. What really worked well for Philadelphia 2 years ago, the run game. Yeah. And that's what set up everything for the pass. Look, they have what they need offensively. I mean, needless to say. But last year, he had such a disaster with all the picks and turnovers because they got him doing too much. You can say Swift ran for 1,000 yards. Look, it's a 17-game season now. For me, I need to see a running back with 1,150, 1,200. Because you got 1,000 yards in 17 games, the 1,000-yard mark used to be at the 14-game mark back in the day. So you're saying it's a little much for me.
So you're saying running back's new benchmark is 1,200, 1,250 for this longer season.
1150, 1200.
That's the
Yeah.
new 1,000-yard season as it
Yeah.
stands
In order
currently
to
today.
be a running game, so to speak,
Right.
it's different for like the Chiefs and Pacheco. That dude runs like he's the size of Derrick Henry,
Yeah.
but he does enough for what the Chiefs need to do. It was the run game that won it for them last year with that disaster.
Keeps them honest. Keeps them honest.
Right.
Yes.
To get back to the Philly game, I didn't like it. It was making me uncomfortable. I really needed to see what Fangio was going to do with his safeties, the linebacker play, how they were going to go about it. And they started off really well. And I realized it's the first game, but Jacobs started to get through. And that was a concern. I thought that might happen a little bit earlier, but my biggest issue was the offense.
Right.
And Hurts should not have thrown that ball 22 times in the first half, in
the
my
first
opinion.
half.
They weren't giving it to Barkley. I didn't understand what the hell was going on. They had Hurts just throwing and throwing and throwing, and it was a disaster. And it's like, I don't understand. Their RPO looked like shit. He wasn't going anywhere. Green Bay had him covered. I mean, covered. And it wasn't working out for them. And the second half, they were finally giving him the ball. He went from throwing the ball 22 times, I believe, to 12. And you can see the difference in it after that, because even Green Bay was struggling, which whatever. But I did take it at +3 at that point for certain people that I do for it off camera. I didn't feel comfortable taking that game at money line. I would have told people take Philadelphia money line. Okay. Yes, we would have covered, which would have been fine. But I don't want to put out information I am not, almost 100% to 99% sure, because I don't gamble. I would like to know what's what, and I needed to see what's what. And if that would have been money line, anybody that watches this would have been squeezing their butt cheek, because that game was just a disaster. So, yes, I'm glad that we won as far as us personally. I'm glad I would have been right, woulda, shoulda, coulda. But I also didn't want to put it on the line to where that game really could have gone either way. And I can't do that to the people that watch this because, it's more, I take a lot of pride in what I do. And whether it's on here or in with people that I know outside of here, I'm not going to put them in that position. So I do apologize not getting it out to the fans. You can reach out. Yes, you would have won, but we also could have lost. And those type of things, I know better. If I'm going to sit and flip a coin because I don't know certain things yet, well, everything I thought was going to happen really actually did happen. They won, but I'm not going to put that on other people's money. So I do appreciate people being patient. I do apologize for not getting it out. But in the end, we would have won. But at the same time, it's gambling. And that is something that I am not comfortable doing.
So these 5 games that we're going to cover this week on this podcast today, what you're saying is these aren't gambles. These are damn near. These are research-based. They are study-based. There's hours and hours and hours and hours of research behind these picks we're going to give you today. So I know our listeners will appreciate that. Your honesty there, Mr. Sanders, wanting to give the people something that you're comfortable with, that you're confident in, and not just flipping a coin or throwing darts with a blindfold on and saying, oh, pick them. We're not into that. We're not doing that.
Next thing you know, it's going to end up on some soccer team in East Asia. Be like, wait a minute, they're not part of the NFL.
That's a different kind of football.
Anyway.
That's a different kind of football.
No.
That's El football right there.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we appreciate you for that. Let's go. Mr. Sanders has a little bit of a beef with the Thursday night game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. This is not my 2 cents segment, although it's going to feel a lot like a my 2 cents segment. Mr. Sanders, you got some things to get off of your chest. Why don't you go ahead and release that? Hit that pressure release button real quick before your head explodes. Okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Word. No. Listen, I do put a lot of work in. I went back. Look, that game shouldn't have been as close as it was with Kansas City and the Ravens. you and I were talking during the game, and it was
Yeah.
what, mid to late second quarter, and I'm telling you, I'm like, look, Lamar's doing nothing but throwing these quick little flat outs. I'm like, this is ridiculous all game. They're not running all game. And then what was it? Midway through the third quarter, we're talking, and literally he was literally averaging 1 yard per throw in his attempt. And I was cracking up. I was like, didn't I mention that earlier?
Exactly.
So it was kind of funny.
Right.
But I went back to, I really wanted to see what Kansas City was doing. So the next morning, Friday morning, I went back to break down. It's just kind of what I do with games. I wanted to see the last drive that happened with Baltimore. But I really wanted to see, because I'm curious how Kansas City is going to work things out with some of their defense, how they're going to make up for Snead in certain blitz packages, things of that nature. So I was doing it in the preseason, and I wanted to see again how they were doing it versus Baltimore, especially towards the end of the game.
Right.
Watch the last drive. The first throw that Lamar went to Likely. Listen, I get it. The man is what, like 6'4", 240 type of situation.
Real quick,
a
Mr.
horrible
Sanders.
throw.
Real quick.
He could have easily put him in the corner.
You're talking about the throw.
I have problems with Lamar.
You're talking about
and
the
then
throw in the
here
end zone? The
throw to the end zone. This wasn't the toe out of bounds. It was the first one where Likely got hurt.
Okay.
And there was no excuse for that throw.
Right.
He could have threw it a little bit more forward, even if he had to jump. There's a pretty good chance that's a tie ball game, or they go for two anyways at that point, like they were gun.
Right, he could have thrown anywhere but where he did. Yeah.
I have problems, which I'm about to go off on. The throw to Zay Flowers.
Okay.
Now, when you and I were talking,
yes,
and the throw was like, where the hell is that thing going?
Right.
I mean, it's as if like it was what, 7-8 yards behind Zay.
Exactly.
And immediately, when you're looking at the camera, Lamar goes like this. And I'm like, you mean more like this?
Right.
Because I don't know where this is coming from.
Yeah.
Unless, like, your centimeters are per 15 feet. Because I don't know what you're talking about. So I go to watch it. And then I would say after I was done watching the film, this, that, and the other, I go to watch Lamar's press conference. And they were talking about, how he felt that the touchdown was the touchdown to Likely. And I'm like, yeah, no wonder why you're throwing the ball where you are, because his toenail was out of bounds.
Yes, it was.
But then a reporter says to him, so on that throw to Zay, was your hand hit? Was the ball tipped? What happened there? And Lamar says, no, actually, that ball was meant for Jason Bateman. And as he's talking, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wait a minute, what? I'm like, I saw that play over and over and over. I watched how Kansas City was lining up, where the wide receivers were going, the whole kit and caboodle. Oh, excuse me, Rashad Bateman. I said Jason Bateman, the actor, because he's cool too. But Rashad Bateman, my bad. Appreciate you, Mr. Grassfields.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? Then Lamar, I remembered how he had to break up into the pocket because the defender was coming in on the running back. Lamar had to break out and throw and then miss Zay Flowers by about, 7-8 yards behind him.
Yeah.
And then Lamar does this. But Lamar was saying he saw that Chris Jones was coming up on the back. And I was like, oh, that was Chris Jones, because I was too busy breaking film to seeing what was going on. I didn't pay attention. It was Jones.
Right.
That he broke up and he threw it. And then he saw Bateman come across. I expected him to stop. He didn't. And I was throwing then. I see Zay coming across. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what? What do you mean? So knowing that I watched that play so many times, I went back to watch it. Literally press pause on the press conference. I went back to watch it. I'm like, am I stupid? What did I miss? That man walked into double coverage, ran into double coverage. By the time Lamar was out cocking his arm to throw, Bateman was finally turned around, covered by two people, but he was nowhere near where that was. And I broke that film down to you.
Yes.
And I just broke it down to Mr. Grassy Fields over here. I haven't broke it down to somebody else. And I'm like, can you explain to me what he's talking about? Am I not seeing it? I'm sick and tired of freaking Lamar Jackson and the hype on this fucking man.
Yeah.
Top 3 quarterback, MVP. This is his year. Chris Collinsworth had the balls and the audacity, which I enjoy Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico,
Usually.
talking about, that being said, Lamar Jackson is a pure pocket passer like Patrick Mahomes.
No.
And what? Fucking mad? Because I don't even play that. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Yes, the man's got a gun on him. He can throw it a country mile.
Yeah.
But while you're throwing a country mile, I live in the metropolis area, fool.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
There is no excuse for that run or for that throw the way he was running.
No.
Bateman was nowhere in the picture. Anybody who is watching this, go back and look at it.
Yeah.
What the hell is Lamar talking about? Listen, I like Lamar. I think he's a great athlete. I really, really do. I really do. But that man is not a quarterback. He is not. And I'm going to bitch and complain. I'm so sick of people having this fool as a top 3 quarterback.
Yeah.
The best quarterback. The most dangerous weapon. First drive was like a piece of art when they had the ball. Great play action, the way they set it up. And I'm like, this is going to be a problem. Kansas City will adjust. But yeah, this is nice. Yeah, we didn't see it again.
No. No.
And it don't make no sense. Instead, you're making these 1-yard dunks, 1-yard dunks, 1-yard dunks, in which some of the throws you can't even make.
Right.
But then he went up into the pocket, veered out right, as he said, getting out of the pocket, and then coming out to the right to hit Bateman. Bateman who? What's he talking about? I'm so sick and tired of this Lamar shit.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. Hell of an athlete. 100% one hell of an athlete. But the dude is no quarterback. And
Okay.
anybody that wants to bitch and complain, let me express this to you. The Baltimore Ravens, I am not a fan, but they draft in the trenches and on defense extremely well. Huge Marlon Humphrey fan for me personally. Physical corner. I love how he gets the ball out. He's like a smaller Peanut Tillman with the peanut punch. The
Right.
dude is just, I love me some Marlon Humphrey.
Yeah.
So, Ray Lewis, I love to hate that man.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when your quarterback, who are Super Bowl champions for that franchise, the Baltimore Ravens, Joe Flacco, I hate that. And your other one is a dude named Trent Dilfer.
Yeah.
Baltimore quarterbacks who have won the Super Bowl. Both of these dudes had a defense. Trent Dilfer probably had the second or third greatest defense ever assembled.
Right.
They are Super Bowl champions. Lamar, once again, has a top-tier defense. Top tier.
Yeah.
Again. And your ass cannot pass the ball to win games. Zay Flowers, that was a fucking fumble. You're trying to take over games, but you can't do it.
Yeah.
If you didn't have Mark Andrews, what are you going to have? I thought OBJ was the savior last year. He put on 20 pounds. Now he's the pocket passer. Take your place. I'm so sick of it. I'm tired of this top 3, top this, top that. Dude, you are a steroid Cordell Stewart.
Oh.
That's what you are. Nothing more than that. Just an updated version. One hell of an athlete. You did not deserve the MVP last year. Should have went to Hill. Should have went to CMC. Should have went to Dak Prescott.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson. I'm
Word.
ready to throw my phone and scream, do you hear me now,
Yeah.
motherfucker? And
Yeah.
I don't like doing all that. But it's like, what the fuck, people? You are trash. Garbage. You ain't going to win shit.
Mm.
Hell of a good player. But you are not a top-tier quarterback.
Mm.
And I'm done with people saying it. I bitched about this a couple episodes about, don't get me started. Wait until this Tua situation starts. I'm going to eat him alive.
Okay.
Because I'm sick of this shit. He
Okay.
doesn't get rid of the ball in 2.4 seconds. Ethan Hunt from the Impossible Mission Force is going to end up stopping this ball because he can do shit else. So, which we'll get to that. It doesn't mean we're not going to be taking Baltimore. It doesn't mean we're not going to be taking Miami, because of course we are. The matchups for that game is what matters.
Okay.
Period.
So
But after
speaking
all
of-
these years with Lamar, at some point you had weapons. You
Yeah.
have Derrick Henry. You have an arm. You are a pocket passer. So everyone's happy he put on weight last year. Oh, here he goes. Yeah, how'd that work out? And then now he's 15 pounds lighter. Oh, watch out. Why? So he can do what he was doing the 5 years prior before last year? And, dude, Baker Mayfield has as many playoff wins as you. Yeah, Scott. I was going to say, Brock Purdy has more playoff wins than you.
In 2
And
years.
didn't you guys destroy the 49ers last year? So I'm getting sick and tired of hearing it. I don't want to hear it. Trent Dilfer has more wins than you. I just don't want to hear it anymore. Hell of an athlete, but if I ever again have to hear that this dude's a top-tier quarterback, I'm going to throw up a rainbow all over people's face just to bring you joy from my barf.
Yeah.
And if you people want to leave negative comments, listen, you're more than welcome. Everybody's welcome to their opinion. But stop smelling the smelly sauce. It's right there on film. And for you to say that you were throwing that ball to Rashad Bateman, I will politely say I disagree. Garbage trash.
Word. And
that's how I feel about that situation. I don't want to hear it again.
So, yeah, you told us how you really feel. No one ever mentioned that Lamar Jackson, top-tier quarterback, and Mr. Sanders' general proximity. Because you might feel some heat. All right. Now, you mentioned it's about the matchups. We will, at some point, be taking Baltimore in some games. We will be taking, at some point, Miami in some games because it is about the matchups. And we have 5 matchups right here.
We do.
That we're looking at for this week. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, if I was you, this is where I would really listen close.
Yeah.
This is where Mr. Sanders makes his money. Okay? The first game we're taking this weekend, Houston versus Indy. Mr. Sanders, what are we doing? Who are we picking? What's the line? What's the deal?
So the last that I saw it, the line was at 2.5. It's fluctuated from 2.5 to 3.
2.5.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Houston minus 2.5.
Okay.
Might float to 3. Look, I'm not. We'll learn as you go. The people that do know me well for a long time, I'm not big on betting divisional games. Division games are a whole different breed. Taylor owns Houston. Like, I'm pretty sure he has like some of the property he owns to the Houston Texans, maybe even part of the team, because that fool just eats them alive. I have no idea what the stats are. I just know because I've watched it, but I think he rushes for like 125, 130 a game. I mean, it's just ownage. I don't think Richardson is what everybody's making him out to be. Big dude, another freak athlete. But Houston got better on D linebacker play. I think that they should be able to manhandle them up. Well, not manhandle, but be able to take care of them up front offensively versus Indy's defense.
Okay.
And I think they're absolutely going to tear apart the Indianapolis secondary. They weren't very good last year. They're not very good this year. I know Downs is, last I saw, should be out for Indianapolis, the wide receiver they picked up.
Right.
Pittman, a really good receiver.
Yeah.
But I just can't see, barring an absolute collapse, when it comes to that game. So I am trying to tell people, take the Houston Texans money line on this game. The last I saw it, it was sitting at minus 150. I have seen it fluctuate up to minus 165. But again, if in reality, $15 to your every 100 matters to you, then do what you want. I'm about making money no matter the amount. So I am telling and putting out, take Houston Texans money line against the Indianapolis Colts.
So Houston money line versus Indy.
Yeah.
Get your money. Okay.
Let's hope so.
Folks, I'm going to repeat it for you one more time. Even though you can pause, rewind, write this down, take a screenshot, whatever you need to do. Okay. Houston versus Indy. We're going Houston money line that game. Okay.
Word.
Our second game this weekend is Jacksonville versus the Miami Dolphins. Here we go. Talk about Miami. Okay. And we also might have a little extra bet on this particular game, which we call a prop bet.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, prop bet.
We're taking a prop bet on this one, and we are taking Jacksonville versus Miami. What are we doing?
So, yeah, Jacksonville's at Miami. Look, I really Miami's offensive line is concern for me. Like, their defense, I think, is going to probably be garbage as hell. I think Jalen Phillips is overrated. I think Nick Chubb is overrated, but what do I know? Nick Chubb, Bradley Chubb.
Yeah.
Maybe he's related to Jason Bateman, who's related
Right.
to Rashad Bateman. So
Yeah.
I watch
Yeah.
too many
Yeah.
movies. What do you people want from me?
Bring it around.
But I really do. I think Bradley Chubb, even though he's going to be a minute, I know Phillips is kind of working his way back, but, his goal is 10 sacks. Like, dude, how long have you been in the league? Hey, people are calling you top tier? Top tier what?
Right.
Anywho, it looks like Jalen Ramsey might be out. So really need to keep an eye on that. But I think when it comes down to it, trench-wise, Jacksonville is going to be better in the trenches, defense versus Miami's offense. But again, Mike McDaniels does a very good job making sure Tua gets the ball out super quick. It's how they work. It's how they can do it. And use their run game to get it off. I think if they can do it, it shouldn't be an issue. I really think that I like Jacksonville this year, but if it's going to go toe-to-toe, offense to offense, even both of them playing solid, in reality, let's face it. I mean, a 4-yard screen, Waddle, Mostert, Achane, frickin', what's his name? Oh, Tyreek Hill.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, by the time you're looking, where is he at? He's already have his hands up and, doing this type of thing and, swimming. Yeah, I mean, it's over and done with.
Right.
So I'm saying taking Miami money line versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think it's going to be an interesting game. The line has pretty much stayed the same. The money line has really fluctuated a lot. That game has gone from 150, and I've seen it all the way up to 185, which is like, that means a lot of people are probably taking the money line because the spread hasn't moved.
Right.
So Miami money line, I really think is a good idea. Every once in a while, I'll throw out a prop bet. Not very often, but every so often. But this game, I think it would be a good idea. I'm personally doing it, and I'm telling people for the one prop bet we're taking for week 1, let's take Tyreek Hill for a touchdown. Last I saw, that was minus 115, which is just like, oh my gosh, that is fantastic. Let's take it. So we're going to go Miami money line. Let's hopefully they can, handle their business just to beat them. And Tyreek Hill for a touchdown. I'm loving some. Give me some up.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Tyreek Hill for a touchdown. Generally a good, safe bet right there.
I would think.
Agreed. All right, so moving on to the next game this weekend. Pittsburgh at Atlanta. Okay. A tough one. Mr. Sanders. Give us the why, the who, the where, the when.
That game, it caught my eye immediately. So since yesterday, Russell Wilson might be out with his calf, which expect to be a season-long problem. So Justin Fields, here we go. I wish I could lay a prop bet on there being a miss snap between the center and Justin Fields, because honestly, I might lay 10 on that because I'm pretty sure that happened like 4 times in the preseason. I wish I could lay a bet on that just out of fun. Look, I think it was good that they got Judon. Atlanta's problem is they have no help up front. So I think Judon will help. Will it resolve the problem? Hell to the no, it won't. But I think it's going to help. I do think Atlanta has the 2 best safeties in the league, especially that they picked up Simmons.
Okay.
People underestimate their solid secondary. Atlanta, if it isn't Detroit, Atlanta's got the best offensive line in the league, in my humble opinion. Kirk Cousins just needs to do a solid job. Look, you got to watch out for the Pittsburgh defense. I mean, Watt is Watt. Hightower's what's his name? Highsmith, number 56 for Pittsburgh. Forgive me for getting your name because you're a dog. Just nasty, and they're going to be solid on D like they always are. But Pittsburgh's got serious frontline issues. I think they're working on their 3rd center, if not their 2nd. Justin Fields. I just think they're going to outscore them. So we're going to end up taking Atlanta money line. I think their line will do enough to hold Pittsburgh at bay, although I don't think anybody can hold Watt. But I think it's enough. I don't think Pittsburgh will be able to put up. And honestly, who knows with Warren? They say he's going to play, but they're under other running back. Now, how many times I had to have conversations about this man? Garbage. I'm sorry, the man's garbage. That's why they don't pick up his
Harris.
And Mr. Harris himself, just garbage. See, he's so trash, I can't even remember his name. At least I didn't call him Jason Bateman, Ed Harris. You
Right.
know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the situation could have been worse,
And Harris.
But I really think that with the line problems that they have, there's no reason Atlanta money line on this game shouldn't happen because the line came down yesterday. It was off the board for over a day, and that was obvious, Russell Wilson and all. So
Right.
yeah, I'm gonna go. The line is still the same, by the way, but I'm gonna Atlanta money line. Give me some.
Okay. All right. Okay. So Atlanta money line. So Atlanta just win, baby. Just win.
Let's go.
Our next game for the weekend to conclude the weekend, not counting Monday night. We'll get to that. Concluding our Sunday games will be Washington versus Tampa Bay.
Oh, yes.
Interesting matchup. Washington starting a rookie at quarterback. Mr. Sanders, your thoughts?
Yeah. Look, everybody, preseason this, preseason that, Jaden Daniels. And look, he held his own. I agree. He looked pretty good. Did the small little things he needed to do.
Did what he needed to
I have
do.
no problem.
Right.
I'm not really the biggest fan of Todd Bowles. I think he does some stupid stuff. I still haven't forgiven him for blitzing in the Tampa Bay Rams game and the division game that you're going to blitz Matthew Stafford. Cooper Kupp, what, didn't he have the trifecta triple crown that year? And you're
Yes,
going to
he
leave
did.
him single high coverage, one-on-one, to where you got torched for 50. They kicked a field goal. Thank God I pushed that game. But I wanted to tell Mr. Bowles,
yeah.
And last year, for the first half of the season, I was calling for the dude's job.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy, a good defensive coordinator, crazy aggressive. I know exactly what he does, but there's a difference. But they ended up putting it together. And, the Bucs were my pick to win that division last year. I felt that if Atlanta got zero quarterback play, the Bucs would have zero issues. And they finally put it together. But this blitz scheme and what they do and how they go about it, like, Daniels ain't never seen nothing like this. And you can run all you want, but there's a difference between running and running for your life.
Right.
Big, big difference. I think he's going to see blitz packages he didn't even know could be done. Washington got a little bit better up front. They definitely have weapons. But I really think that they're going to absolutely get in that ass.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes for the secondary of Tampa. But, if Tampa's living in the backfield, like, I got the most money on that game this week. So I'm hoping I'm right.
So you're pretty
I'm
confident
not
about this
betting the
game.
farm or anything, but I definitely put down one of the wheels on my tractor, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
But I really like Tampa money line this game. You should be able to get it at pretty decent money. But that game is my favorite this week, being week 1 and all, which makes it a little tough.
Right.
If Daniels beats them and figures out that blitz, then kudos to him, man.
Right.
Really kudos to him.
And
that's fine and dandy. But that defense was the worst defense last year. Each year's different. I don't care about Dan Quinn, whoop-de-doo, man. Wear your hat backwards like your hawk in Over the Top.
Right.
Okay? You can drive trucks, break arms, and arm wrestle all you want. In the meantime, you still need to take on the Tampa Bay defense. So I want to see that being done, and I just don't understand how they can stop Godwin, a solid running game, better offensive line, Chris Evans, first ballot Hall of Famer. I just don't understand how, or excuse me, I said Chris Evans. Well, I am on one today when it comes to names, dude. Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge Captain America fan.
Yeah.
I should be on E! Entertainment so far this week.
Absolutely.
What's going on? So Mike Evans, first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm tripping. By the way, shout out to all these actors. Feel free to jump in onto the show if you want to be a special guest, because I am kind of shooting you out there, not on purpose. But no, I really, really like them. I just can't see how they're going to be able to handle what's coming, even with a few mistakes made. I love that game, Tampa Bay money line. I really, really do. Don't do anything crazy. Never do anything crazy. But, that's my loveliness pick this week, is that Tampa Bay Washington game.
All right. To conclude our games for this first weekend,
here we go.
We saved this game for last because I'm a Niner fan, and Mr. Sanders believes I'm not going to like what he has to say about this game.
Yeah.
So if you haven't figured it out yet, ladies and gentlemen, we are picking up the Monday night game.
We are.
Where we have the Jets visiting my San Francisco 49ers, who I always have high hopes for the season. I am a
Fair.
realist, though. I realize the Jets defense is special at every level. Mr. Sanders, I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, they're like, needless to say, the Jets had problems last year on offense. I think that would be a very fair assessment, to put
I
it
mean,
politely.
to put it politely, yeah, one could
Yeah,
say.
they were not very good or productive.
I mean, what
Um,
were the most points their defense have scored in them last year? Like 25, 26?
to be honest with you, I didn't even check that out. I do know that the offense of the Jets in whole put up 18 touchdowns.
Wow.
That means you scored a touchdown a game
Yeah.
offensively.
Yeah.
One touchdown a game. Now, everybody's talking Aaron Rodgers this, Aaron Rodgers that. Look, his last year in Green Bay, he still had great yardage. I think he had 26 touchdowns and 12 picks. Am I right about that? I'm pretty sure 26-12. Can you look that up? I'm pretty sure it was 26 and 12, and he had an up and down season. Give Aaron Rodgers 26-12 with the Jets, with that offense against that defense. That means he already had basically 8 more touchdowns alone. Has nothing to do with Brees Hall than what
Right.
that whole offense put up last year. And that's got to show something for that defense. Look, from the trenches to all the way to the secondary. Hey, what do you people want? You went 7-10 with nobody but Brees Hall. Nobody. Hey, to me, that says something. You went 7-10 with no offense. You just had some dude off the street just throwing the ball. What are the stats? So here it is. Aaron Rodgers.
For 2023.
What is that? 26-12?
Yeah, 26-12, almost 4,000.
So almost 4,000 yards. 26 touchdowns, 12 picks. 3,700. So 26-12 is which I had. Exactly my point. What did I say? I'm about 3,600, something like that. So 3,700 and change. Yeah, let them get that.
Yep.
And now it's going to allow Brees Hall. And then this kid Allen, man, number 0. Boy, I can't wait to watch this boy. I can't wait. There's something about that kid. I can't wait to just have him.
You're talking about their second string running back, correct? The Jets.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Allen, number 0.
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to that. Look, bottom line for me in this game, the trenches. The Niners have issues offensively up front somewhat, and you're going against a bunch of nasty ass, crazy, I'm gonna just kick your mama upside her head and leave her there and say, get up so I can give you some more from the defensive line of the Jets. It sucks that Riddick is not there, that they don't have Huff. How that guy didn't go noticed by people last year. I was telling you about that last year. I just don't see how they can deal with them. I think that they'll be able to be covered. I think hopefully they should be able to keep CMC in check for the most part. I think Purdy's going to have some issues. And I don't think the Niners secondary is all of that in a bag of chips either. And how are you going to cover these people? How are you going to stop people? Bring people up to slow down Allen and Hall. Now you got to deal with, Garrett, and you need to deal with their tight end, and you need to deal with everybody that's coming. And it's just like, Aaron Rodgers may be 40, but the last time I checked, this dude is a 4-time MVP, and he can make me a drooling buffoon when just looking at film, and I know what I'm looking at.
Right.
It's just unreal. That line has moved. It literally opened up at 6 when it first got released back in May.
6 for who?
And it was Niners -6.
Okay.
Back in May. Pretty much through spring training, as thing has been going, or spring training, through training camp. I'm on one today. Training camp, things of that nature. It dropped down to 3.5 last week. Then it moved up to 4.5. All Niners favorite. This brings me back to what I said to people earlier. This is where I like my points. Because if it was at 5.5, there would be no question about it. I'm taking that mofo, Jets +7. Let the Niners beat me by 8. Look, I think the Jets are going to beat them, period. But let me give points just in case. I like to protect my money. The Jets right now are a 4-point dog.
Okay.
Look, if somehow, some way you can find it at 6 and get -180, -190 at worst,
Find
do
out.
it.
Plus
Make
or
the
minus
Niners
6. Plus or
Right.
minus 6.
Because it's going to end up doing it at +6. You always said
Okay.
minus. Yeah, I maybe I should start doing drugs because this ain't working. +6 Jets. If you
Okay.
can still get it at even less than -200, take it. Because you need to get beat by a touchdown. If you like it at 4 and it's sitting at 4 and you think 5 is enough, get that one extra point because they got to score a touchdown. They have to in order for you to lose your money.
The
Now,
Niners
if you're
have
feeling
to score a
risky,
touchdown.
correct.
Right.
So when I ended up getting the line, I saw it at -5.5 for certain people and us. I ended up getting that game at +7 because I have issues.
+7
When it
for the
came out in
Jets.
May, yes, +7 for the Jets. But
Okay.
in May, I got it at +8. So I'm looking at that. Talk about crossing your fingers since May.
Yeah.
So thank God everybody's all right. So I got issues. But if you're seeing it at +4 for the
For the
Jets,
Jets.
if you're seeing it at +4.5 for the Jets, listen, I'm telling you, grab it at 6 if you can. Some places I've seen that they're talking about where it's Jets +3.5. Like if you can get it at 5, take it. If you can only get it at +4, look, you're your own person. Would I do it? I think the Jets are going to beat them, and they need to beat me by the Niners need to beat me by a touchdown. Let's go. Let's just go. Let's have some fun. Don't do anything too crazy. +4, go for it. But if you can get the game at +6, take it. If you can get it at +5, Jets +6, Jets +5, take it. And may the football gods be good because I think that defensive line is going to absolutely wreck shop on the 49ers. Wreck shop. I know you hate it, but
So we're taking Jets +6, which means that my Niners can still win, just not by more than 6.
correct.
All right.
So you got some hope, but don't have any if I were you.
I got a lot of hope. I always got hope when it comes to my Niners. Damn it. Moving on from that, ladies and gentlemen, you have our picks for the week. Hopefully you put this on pause, write that down, call your people, do what you need to do to get the same numbers that we got. Because if everything goes as it has gone, we will have a successful weekend.
So,
Fingers crossed. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Remember that.
Oh, big time.
Are there any other games that maybe we haven't put any money on or we haven't that you're looking at besides the ones we just covered?
So let's see. We got Houston money line, Miami money line, Atlanta money line,
Tampa Bay
money line.
And Jets +6.
If we can get the Jets +6, I really hope people can find it at 7. That would be really nice.
Okay.
So the other games that I was looking at, I've really been paying attention to the Cincinnati Patriots. Like that game opened up at 9.5.
For who?
That's where Cincinnati. Cincinnati was -9.5.
Okay.
For days. When this whole Lamar thing was happening, it made me start picking at that game because I'm like, ooh, the line is going to drop. Maybe this fool can continue to be the diva he's being. Maybe this thing will drop down to Cincinnati like -7 to where I could get it like at 5. Or let it drop down to 6. Let me see what I can do. Give me some free money.
Okay.
So what happens? He ain't showing up. It continues to go. Well, Cincinnati dropped down to -7.
You're talking
as
about
far as the
Jamar Chase. The receiver
Jamar
for the
Chase
Bengals.
continue not to do it. Right. So the day before he started practice, I wanted to grab it at -5. It was so hard for me not to do it. So I just kind of let it be. I would like to grab it at -5. I can't. And then I find out yesterday, T. Higgins looks like he's out. So I think Trenton Irwin, I've been telling people about this dude since last year. Don't get it twisted. They still got some receivers there. It's not Jamar Chase, but the guy can still handle his business pretty properly. And even if they can get half a game from Chase, I think it should be more than enough because the Patriots defense is going to be swarming everywhere. Don't get it twisted in the wind about them. Just dogs. That's just how they are. So wanted it at -5, but I'm leaving it be. The other game that I was looking at was Denver at Seattle. That line would not budge. It wouldn't budge at all. And I constantly looked at it. Seattle are 6-point favorites. And I was hoping it would drop to at least 5 because I debated taking it at 4, maybe 3. but I need to see more from Seattle defensive-wise, what they're going to do. So I really left that game alone. And the last one, which was really hard for me to leave this game alone, Dallas at Cleveland. You can talk about the Tom Brady hype and this, that, the other, and Jerry Jones and whatever you want. Again, this is about the game.
100%.
I was hyped and told everybody about the Cleveland defense last year, and
Yeah.
they're going to be no joke. And I was all on them. They were my dark horse last year, period.
Right.
But I need to see what Watson's going to do, because he really needs to get it together. And with Nick Chubb being out at minimum 4 weeks, yes, they still have a good running game, but there's a difference. Plus, they got hurt offensive linemen. Cleveland is a 2-point favorite.
Okay.
And I debated taking a money line, maybe with Chubb. Maybe if I knew, their offensive line for Cleveland was a little better, I can depend on Watson. But I need to see it a little bit more. So that was really hard to leave that game alone. And look, if these games win, it's not going to be like, oh, man, I wish I would have took them. Damn. Yeah, no, maybe I'll be saying that inside. It's like, at least I knew I was right. Or, hey, I'm glad that I let it be. Just like the Philadelphia Green Bay game. It's same exact process, although I've seen more from these teams than from the Philly situation.
Right.
But so that's really hard. If there's something that people know more than I do, or something that you're looking at, the information I give you, moneyline Cleveland, Seattle if you can get it cheaper, and Cincinnati -5. Maybe don't be shy. But am I going to put it on our official record for the podcast? No.
Okay.
No, I want to, but no. But those are the other games I was looking at.
Okay.
Just going to leave them be. But something, for anybody else that knows what they like and what they're doing, just to kind of check out. But I like our
keep
games.
an eye on.
I like our Tyreek Hill prop.
Yep.
And let's start slow. And let's hope for a good weekend, man. I'm so happy that this game's back.
Absolutely. Now, last question there, Mr. Sanders. Although we have gone over our time, I got the producer in my ear telling me to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Do you have a dark horse MVP for the season already?
Oh, you're funny. I like Joe Burrow for my dark horse, but you know who my dark horse is?
Who's your dark?
Jared Goff.
Jared motherfucking
I'm liking
Goff.
me some Jared Goff this year.
Okay.
14, 15 of their games are indoors. They're no joke. I'm kind of liking me dark horse Jared Goff MVP. Am I going to put money on it? No. But, this is all NFL conversation. So to all my Lions fans out there, Barry Sanders is the greatest running back I've ever seen.
The best.
Just for shits and giggles.
Okay.
Just for shits and giggles.
For shits and giggles. But we are not shitting or giggling about these picks this week. We're serious about it. A lot of work is going into it. Mr. Sanders has happy heart attacks on a daily basis concerning this game.
I have a nurse on standby.
Right. We do not arrive at these conclusions lightly. Once again, a lot of work behind it, of which you have to do none of. All you have to do is click and subscribe. Watch the podcast. Tell your friends. Check out our Instagram page, Mr. Sanders' Instagram page.
Our Instagram page, Fades and Parlays _podcast. So make sure you check it out. We try to get some stuff out there, but the pics will always be on YouTube only.
Yes, they will. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, all bettors and bettees. Have a great weekend, and we will be checking in with you next Saturday. We'll review a little bit of our picks today, and we'll give you some new picks next Saturday.
Yeah, probably throw out a short, see how we did throughout the week. If no one's seen me, that means all hell broke loose, and I don't know what happened. I'm going to pull a Lamar. Oh, I saw Rashard Bateman coming across, and I meant to throw it to him. I'm going to pull one of those bullshit stunts.
There we go. We'll make a gift out of it. Signing off, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again for watching. Please click and subscribe. Send us your comments. We want to hear from you. Have a great weekend. Week number 1 is off and running.
Let's go.
Let's go.